Hi, my name is Rebekah Bogard. I am a ceramic sculptor and a professor at the University of Nevada, Reno. This is a very brief artist lecture. It talks about what my artwork is about and the meaning behind it and a little bit of the thought process. I am an installation artist. I enjoy creating full-on installations, environments for the viewer to lose themselves into. And I think this probably stems from being a shy and awkward kid and not really feeling like I belonged. And so I enjoy creating full-on environments where all are welcome to view and enjoy and participate and to think about the world that we all live in. All of my installations deal with different themes or topics. It just depends on what I'm going through at that point of life. And so this is my Love and Leisure series. And so it's basically about the simple pleasures in life, such as scratching an itch, eating, smelling flowers, or being distracted by people that you like. This is my Twilight exhibition. It's basically deals with this uncomfortable space that I was in that was a precursor to my divorce. And so it's called Twilight because, well, twilight happens twice a day. And it's this in-between space. It's not dawn and it's not morning yet, and it is not dusk and it's not night. It's this sort of strange in-between space where I was finding myself in. And also the space is basically interior and exterior. And so you've got these walls that have wallpaper at the top, wallpaper border at the top, and stars that are clearly hanging from the ceiling with ribbons. Yet it's got this exterior space. And so you have these trees and flowers that are remnants of the exterior world. And so I think about this in-between space, also like this dream space, like when you first start falling asleep, how the real world is still sort of in your head and it slowly sort of evaporates as the dream world sort of blossoms and takes over. And so this is my Flesh and Bone series, and it deals with life after divorce. And it's this challenging territory that I never planned on being single in my 40s. And it was uncharted territory, to say the least. And so this show I actually got to show two different times. One was at Family Gallery in LA, and the other one was here at the Robert and Frances Fullerton Museum of Art in San Bernardino, California. And this was a really wonderful experience because I got to really control the space much more than I did before. And I was able to paint the walls this cool blue, which provided a really beautiful contrast that the warm and fleshy colors of the animals and the trees. And so it really created much more of an immersive environment. Felt like a winter wonderland that you just wanted to linger in and lose yourself in. And my work is also narrative as well as autobiographical. And so I believe the personal is universal. And I feel like the more personal stories we tell, the more people can relate to them and understand them. And so this, again, deals with my life after divorce and thinking about dating and maybe getting crushes on boys and just feeling like I'm in elementary school again, playing that game. He loves me not, because I don't really know. And this piece is, this exhibition is titled Heaven. And so it's basically about being lit from within. And so all of the light from the show comes from the fire that's within the show. And so I'm thinking about myself and how important it is to love yourself and to let your own fire, your own light within shine and be a beacon and be, you know, a good sort of role model or just be the best person that you can be in a day-to-day moment. And this was probably one of the most fun openings that I got to have of all my work. And so I got to show it in 2 different places. One was at a MoCA Museum in Pomona, and the other one was at the Ridley Gallery in Rockland. In both cases, they had to have the fire marshals on staff for the opening because we got to light it on fire, and it's a whole lot of fire. And one thing that surprised me the most, I guess, was just how quickly it got warm in that environment. And also was a really fun show too, because I don't know that I've ever had so many people photograph my work so readily, and so many pictures and fire. It's amazing. So I also have a few reoccurring themes that happen throughout my work, and that would be femininity and sexuality and questioning gender norms. Obviously, I'm all for female empowerment and women taking charge of their own pleasure. And other themes that come into play as well are relationships and romance. And so I find myself asking the question, well, what really matters in a relationship? Is it sex? Is it money, stability, friendship, family, passion? And I think relationships are really important and fundamental in our lives. And I think oftentimes females get sort of poo-pooed for thinking about or even writing about romance, and which I don't understand, because they are foundational to our culture and our community. Hand jobs for heartbreaks. What can I say? Sometimes a girl's just got to take care of herself. I also enjoy the idea of cute and playing with the viewers and sucking the viewers in with this cuteness. And then when they come in for a closer look, maybe sometimes they got a little bit more than they bargained for. But I enjoy that I get to have this relationship with the viewer through my artwork, and how there's this exchange, and how sometimes it can be really fun and playful. This is still probably one of my favorite exhibitions that I've put on. The title of the exhibition is Crush. And so basically this gallery is an octagon, and you'll see at the top it's got windows, so it's has all this natural light, and the shelving at the top with all of these sculptures that I placed there. And as you can see, I flooded the gallery with a whole bunch of water. And then I hung these false floating walls above the water. And so it creates this really interesting, surreal environment as the water disappears behind the walls. And so it sort of puts you a little off balance, because you're not quite sure how the space really exists, and how the water really is disappearing behind the walls. And then when you look at the space, the way it's presented is it's got this gate in the front, and it's always closed and it's always locked. And so the one picture is just open just for the picture, but basically the lock on the gate implies that you can come in if you have a key. But it creates this really interesting tension because it's always shut, and it creates a sort of sense of longing with the viewer, because you can see this whole interior space and you really want to go in and explore, but you can't. And so this space basically serves as a metaphor for me, being really protective and creating a sanctuary for myself after divorce, and being careful about who I let in to my own sort of personal world. And going through a divorce was really tricky and painful and lonely, and I didn't want to get into a relationship. I didn't want to just jump into a relationship after divorce. And so it was hard. And like I said, I was lonely. And so I sort of felt like I had to grow a whole nother head for myself in order to be enough for myself. And then because it was naturally lit, the piece changed with the different times of day. So it would look very different in the morning than it would in the afternoon and at night. And so this is what it looked like by moonlight. And so you can see that the moonlight is dancing across the surface of the water, reflecting on the walls, creating a really beautiful pattern that flows and changes constantly. And then to reiterate the fact that, I'm creating this sanctuary, this sacred space for myself, the top of the space is lined with what I refer to as gargoyles or sentries. And they are there to serve as protections for me and protection for the space itself. So, you know, I think the world is a beautiful and magical place, and I think we get too caught up in our workaday lives, and we forget to see the beauty and magic that surrounds us. And so I create work to remind us of the beauty that we live in and the magic that surrounds us, and to encourage ourselves to be in the moment and be present and kind to each other as much as possible. Thanks for watching.